What's going on, TikTok? You're behind the scenes on the Forbidden Knowledge podcast, and I'm getting ready to go live on YouTube on the Forbidden Knowledge YouTube account. That's with the number 4. Okay, so make sure y'all going over there if you want to see it on the big screen. If not, you can hang out here behind the scenes. I am going to be showing some amazing things tonight. What's going on, YouTubers? All right, what's happening? Let's see who we got in the live chat tonight. We got a lot of people in the live chat already on TikTok and growing. What's going on, TikTok? And let's check out the live chat on YouTube. Here they come. Everybody's jumping in. Tony, Joe, Terrence. All right. Anthony. Aaron. All right. What's going on, Glock? Everyone's hopping in. We're live on TikTok. We're live on X. We are live on 2 YouTube accounts. And tonight we're going to be talking about a really incredible topic. We're going to be digging deep into the tombs and the Valley of the Kings located in Egypt. And I have a little bit of a theory I'm going to drop on y'all tonight. So again, if you want to see the images, TikTok, you got to go to the Forbidden Knowledge podcast with the number 4, Forbidden Knowledge podcast on YouTube. If you want to see the images and videos I'm going to play tonight. All right. So tonight we're going to be going into one of the most controversial and misunderstood subjects in human history. We're going to be talking about the actual Valley of the Kings, the Valley of the Kings, where the kings were actually buried. Now, this lets us know that pharaohs and kings were not buried inside of pyramids per se, like the Great Pyramid, that they had a specific location where they wanted to be buried and where they were buried. And so we're going to talk about that tonight, okay? So if you're just joining us right now, make sure you please click the like button. And make sure you please share this video. Again, click the like button and share the video. Help us get into that algorithm, okay? Help us get into the algorithm. And if you aren't a subscriber to the network or the channel, please make sure y'all go ahead and like and subscribe, all right? So let's dig into this Valley of the Kings, because what if everything that you've been told about the Valley of the Kings has been wrong this whole time? For nearly 3,500 years, these tombs have literally been described as nothing more than elaborate burial chambers for dead pharaohs. But here's the question nobody asks. Why would a civilization invest decades of labor, carve miles of tunnels into solid limestone mountains, create chambers larger than modern homes, paint the walls with microscopic precision, and hide all of them beneath one of the most remote valleys on earth just to bury a body? Something ain't adding up. The math ain't mathing. So tonight we're going to dig deep into the Valley of the Kings, a place that has been known to be so mysterious that even after centuries of excavation, archaeologists are still discovering hidden chambers. After centuries, they're discovering sealed passages, unexplained anomalies. We're talking about tombs that stretch hundreds of feet underground, chambers covered in texts that read more like technical manuals for the afterlife than they do religious stories, and secrets that are so important that the ancient Egyptians went to extraordinary lengths to conceal them from the world. So the real question isn't like what was buried here. We know what was buried here. The real question is, what knowledge were they trying to protect? What were they trying to preserve? Was it data? Was it a code? We're going to talk about that tonight. If you're just joining us, make sure you share this video and click that like button. If you're on TikTok, make sure you go to the Forbidden Knowledge podcast. I'm going to be playing some videos tonight, okay? And I visited the Valley of the Kings many times. It's located on the west bank of the Nile near Luxor, Egypt. And so when I land in Cairo, what we do is when I take people on tour, every year I take people to see this in person with me. So we meet in Cairo. We go around Cairo for about 4 days, visiting ancient sites in Cairo like Giza and Saqqara and other places. Then we hop on an airplane, and that's included. and we fly to Luxor. And in Luxor, we take, quite a few more visits at a lot of these ancient sites. One of them being the Valley of the Kings, which we're talking about tonight. And we know that the Valley of the Kings served as the royal necropolis of the New Kingdom for approximately 500 years, from around 1550 BC to around 1070 BC. And we know that over 65 tombs have been discovered, with more still being dug up. 65 tombs hidden inside of a mountain like an underground military bunker. And I'm talking just like an underground military bunker. I'll show you all some images tonight. And so we know that others are massive, supermassive underground mega complexes. But experts still believe there are more undiscovered tombs in those mountains. And I believe so as well. This is incredible. The ancient Egyptians called it the great and majestic necropolis of the millions of years of Pharaoh. The great and majestic necropolis of the millions of years of Pharaoh. That was the name they gave to the Valley of the Kings. That's incredible. Let me see if I can pull up a couple of photos here for y'all, just to show y'all a couple things real quick. And TikTok, I apologize, I can't get the images on this screen, but I definitely appreciate y'all being here and hanging out. I'm going to pull up a couple of images on the actual screen up here. And we're going to go over a couple things, all right? And we're going to talk about a great theory tonight. Add to the stage. Here we go. Here I am. This is a picture of me inside of one of these tombs. So you can see Thoth the Atlantean behind me. You can see the colors. Look at the skin tone. Look at the colors. The great Lord Thoth, the ruler over the land of ancient Kemet for 16,000 years. One man ruled over the land of ancient Kemet for 16,000 years. He's also known through Africa as Tahuti. He's known in Mexico as Tahuti. Teotihuacan is the city of Tahuti in Mexico City. This guy got around, a great traveler. Long before Christopher Columbus existed, this man was traveling the world already, okay? Long before. So this is inside one of the underground tombs. I'm probably at this point here, maybe I'm about 40 feet beneath the ground, okay? And this is what the mountains look like. I'm showing a preview of the mountains, TikTok. And so this is what an aerial view of the mountains look like. And you have to ask yourself again, why would they go through such great lengths to build these underground fortresses like survival chambers inside of fortified mountain ranges? So elaborate. Let's take a look at one of them here. This one is approximately over 100, is it over 100 meters, I believe. Look at how elaborate these chambers are. It's like an underground city. Some of these tombs are like underground cities. Living quarters, hidden chambers, false doors, you name it. Why all the elaborate layout? Why spend so much energy and resources putting all of that into a place where there's going to be a body that's not even alive anymore? This is the question that we're asking tonight, okay? This is the question that we're asking tonight. Look how elaborate this tomb here is. I've been in this tomb as well. And this is taken from a Samsung, I think it was an S22 at the time, or S21. But look how elaborate the ceiling is. The universe, the stars, the solar boats, the elaborate painting on the walls. You can see even the skin painted. Everything is painted. Everything is beautiful. the gods at the tops of the columns. Those are the Natiru at the tops of the columns. There's a reason for this. And this is way beneath the ground. I'm talking about way, way down. Why would they do something so elaborate? I think I have a hypothesis that I want to share with you all tonight that you may have never considered. So make sure you hang out with me here tonight, because I have a hypothesis I want to share with you very shortly about why they must have created these underground fortresses that are like mini underground bunkers to allow you to survive for thousands of years, right? Literally. Why would they do that? It just doesn't make sense that you're going to put a body in a sarcophagus buried in a mountain where no one's going to see it. But yet, how elaborate are these tombs designed, and how incredibly are they cut into stone? Just mind-boggling, right? Just mind-boggling. And so we're gonna continue to ask these questions, and I'm going to see if I can find another image here. Oh, I don't have that one here, the one with Horus. That one's missing. But there's one that talks about millions of years in hieroglyphs. I'll have to pull that one up another time. I was going to show you the readings. Let me see if this is it here. Maybe this one is it. Oh, I think I might have found it. Hold on a second. Let me download this. Got to keep going. I have tens of thousands of photos and videos from all of my trips. So sorting them and finding them and keeping track of them, wow, is a full-time job. Okay. But I just found one that I want you to pay attention to. I recorded this probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. Look at this, guys. Forbidden Knowledge, Billy Carson. This is Horus, the god Horus. I'm in the temple of Abydos right now. You see Horus holding these 3 reeds. These represent 3 million years. He's given 3 million years of life, or wishing 3 million years of life to Pharaoh Seti, King Seti. And you see what he's got here? A jet pillar ankh. You see that? You guys hear me talking about that all the time. Here it is. They think for millennia, they think for millions. They're saying millions of years. Not, we hope you make it till next week. We hope you make it for millions of years. So you see that those reeds that he had in his hand, okay? And shout out to Michael for first time watching me live. Appreciate you, Michael. Those reeds, each reed represents 1 million years. 1 million years. He's got 3 reeds. And at the tip of those reeds is a jet pillar ankh, which is a technology, right? It's like a Tesla coil with a condenser built into the ankh. And he's putting that into the mouth of the pharaoh. In other words, in some way, they're letting us know that this technology is going to allow his body to survive for up to 3 million years. This is incredible knowledge. And this is all inside these incredible tombs underground. And so this is why, I take people to Egypt to see these incredible sites and things and visit these places, because it's just mind-boggling when you see them in person, because until you see this in person, you'll never be able to really conceive it, understand it. It's just like hearsay on Google or hearsay on a podcast. But when you get on an airplane and you fly out there and meet me there, and I take you straight underground to these places, and I show you exactly what I'm talking about, and you see it with your own eyes, you can touch it with your own hands, it becomes real. I just dropped a link in the live chat. If you want to request an invitation to come see this and so much more with me in Egypt, click that link and fill out your invitation request. on TikTok. The link is in my bio. Click on that link in my link tree and fill out the invitation request for Egypt. All right. I'm going to drop the link again. It's when you see this, you can't get the same feeling from History Channel, from National Geographic, from Google, from a podcast, from a documentary on TV. You're just not going to get the same exact effect until you are there in person and you see and witness the magnificence of what is all around you. The quality of the work, 3D hieroglyphs. And then you try to wrap your mind around, okay, how do they make three-dimensional hieroglyphs? Because to make a 3D hieroglyph, you have to erase what's not what you don't want in the glyph. Making a glyph where you carve it into, right, indentation, you're carving into stone, not easy like a piece of cake, but still a lot easier because it's like drawing than making a 3D hieroglyph where you have to erase everything around the stone that you don't want to be in the glyph. That, and with laser precision, by the way. And then there are tens of thousands of glyphs inside of each tomb. Not 100, not 1,000, tens of thousands. It's that elaborate. And then you look around as we're going down these shafts in these tombs, and you begin to realize that there's no soot. No soot means no torches. No torches in pitch black means electricity, means light bulbs. Means they had light bulbs. So this is what we're talking about. This is incredible stuff. And this is why I take people and why I keep going back. Every year they open up different tombs. I don't have to see the same exact ones every single time, although some of them I go back in over and over again. Before the Valley of the Kings, pharaohs were buried. They tried, mainstream tried to say they were buried inside of pyramids, but they were not buried in pyramids. You know, everybody knows that the pyramids there have never been any bodies discovered in them. No hieroglyphs, no cartouches, no carvings. So what they try to say is, well, they made radical decisions to now bury them in this location. That's not exactly the truth. They always planned on that location. And they planned on that location for eons. They chose that remote valley beneath the mountain known as El Qurn. I think it's Kern. L-Q-U-R-N. Qurn. El Qurn. That's how you say it, yeah. And the shape of the mountain itself, when you're looking at it from a particular angle, it actually resembles a pyramid, the mountain itself. And you begin to see that there was a method to their madness. With the mummification process was so elaborate. The mummification process was so elaborate and so important as to not allow the DNA to be damaged. The main purpose and the main reason for the mummification was to not allow the DNA to be damaged. Not let the body completely rot and turn back into ash or the elements around it. To allow the preservation of the DNA. Keep that in mind where we're going with this. It was all about preserving the DNA. That's the most important part of my hypothesis tonight. I would love to take y'all to the tomb of Seti I, one of the greatest tombs ever built. If there was a masterpiece of any type in the Valley of the Kings, it's going to be the tomb of Seti I. It's also known as KB-17. KB-17, it's about 450 feet long. That's over 130 meters or so. Okay? That's mind-boggling. It has multiple corridors, 7 major chambers, magnificent astronomical ceilings pointing to the stars and star systems. thousands and thousands of hieroglyphs everywhere you look. And the walls are so finely carved and etched that anytime any person I take in there, they're like completely, their head explodes when they think about the precision. The colors are as if I just painted it yesterday for over 3,000 years. It's the same as day number one. And what's really fascinating about the tomb, it contains some of the most detailed depictions of the journey through the Duat, which is talked about in where? In the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. The Duat, to the Egyptian underworld. We're talking about a portal to another dimension. And the Duat information and the Duat text is inside of Seti I tomb. Again, where's that compendium at? Making my book, again, validated. Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. Validating the work of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean priest king, once again. More evidence located in the tomb of Seti I, backing up and corroborating 1,000% the Duat. The Duat exists, and the ancient Egyptians knew all about it. Okay? I'm dropping a link in the live chat again if you want to come and hang out with me in Egypt. You can request an invitation. TikTok, you can click the link in my bio, request an invitation. X, there's a link in my bio on X. You can request an invitation to come hang out with me in Egypt for 2 weeks in October. All right? The link is in my bio, or it's in this live chat, or in the caption of this video. Now, we're talking about a potential theory here that I've been telling you about, right? Now, when you start reading these ancient Sumerian tablets and some of this other text from the Egyptian book of Going Forth by Day, you start realizing that the Netters had told these kings that they were going to be able to return like the gods. They told them they were coming back. Not in this magical afterlife. They were coming back here to the third dimension, right in this realm, to rule again. What the Egyptians had learned from these Netters, which are also known as the Anunnaki, but the ancient Egyptians called them Neters or Netters, or the Netiru. They came at the time of Zep-Tepi and turned mud into a kingdom. And these Netters taught them about DNA preservation through mummification and the importance of it. And why would they do that? They were talking about they were going to clone them in a future time and bring them back to life in these texts. They weren't going to any kind of a magical heaven. They were coming back right here in this dimension, according to what they believed. And this is why those tombs had all their riches, all the wealth of the family, their concubines, their wives, their cats. Why? Why would you bring all this to my grave and bury them with me in this mountain? All of my riches? I can't take riches on a solar boat to the afterlife. You think these people didn't know that? They were some of the most intelligent people that ever lived. You think they didn't know you can't take money on the afterlife? Of course they knew they couldn't take the money with them to the afterlife. They knew that quite well. They believed, in my hypothesis, that they were returning here in a future time period. They would surf through the Duat in the spiritual realm until their body was cloned and they were brought back to life again, to rule all over again with all of their riches and all of their wealth and their wives and their cats and everything, and their concubines and everything else. Everything from their estate, which was buried in that magnificent underground bunker that nobody knew existed because it was well hidden. They would cover it over with stone and rocks, and no one would know it was there. They buried them so well that we are still searching for more tombs today. We're still finding more tombs in those mountain ranges. We haven't even found them all yet. When you begin to look at movies that have to do with deep space travel, what do you see them putting the people's bodies in? Deep space hibernation pods. A deep space hibernation pod looks a lot like a sarcophagus. A deep space hibernation pod looks a lot like a sarcophagus. Hypothesis. Could the ancient Egyptians have seen something from these Anunnaki beings, also called the Natiru? Could they have seen something similar? Could they have witnessed some type of technology that preserves bodies? Because in the Emerald Tablets, Thoth talks about having rejuvenation chambers that he buried deep beneath the bedrock and in other underground areas around the world called the Halls of Amenti, where he would put cloned bodies inside of them, and then he would transfer his mind into a new body when the old body got worn out. So, could that be the secret behind the mummification process, which definitely 1000% preserves the DNA? I've seen the mummies. They're in the museums in Egypt with the elongated skulls, by the way. They don't let you take pictures and video. That's why you got to come with me. You have to come with me so you can see their skulls. They will not allow photo or video, or they will arrest you and put you in jail. They will lock you up and take your device. They don't want the world seeing those elongated skulls with dreadlocks coming off of them. They don't want the world seeing that. The DNA was the primary reason, in my opinion. They had the Halls of Amenti. Now, these spacefaring race people, they had their rejuvenation chambers, they had their, hibernation chambers, whatever you want to call them. And I really do believe, based on the shape and the style of these sarcophagi, they were meant to mimic those rejuvenation chambers, and then they call them rejuvenation chambers inside the Emerald Tablets, leading me to believe that the main reason was cloning, forced or planned reincarnation. In the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, Thoth says he had learned how to incarnate at will via the Halls of Amenti and via these bodies that he would create and transfer his mind into a new body. And then he said, I would walk amongst men, but unlike a man. He was the ghost in the shell. Interesting. Take a look at this video here. I'm showing a video of a clip from Interstellar, and then at the bottom, a real Egyptian sarcophagus being discovered and opened for the first time. The top clip on Interstellar is the deep space hibernation pod that one of the stars of the movie he stored his body in there for hundreds of years, waiting for someone to come rescue him off that remote planet. If you remember this movie, I think it was Matt Damon. And then at the bottom, you see the mummified Egyptian body being taken out of a sarcophagus. And the top, you see Matt Damon being taken out of the hibernation pod. Interesting. Isn't that interesting? Let me know in the live chat if you were able to see that video clip. Someone said they couldn't see the video clip. Just let me know in the live chat if you saw that on YouTube. Let me know in the live chat if you were able to see that. I'm going to play it back one more time, because this is mind-blowing to me when I made this connection. So what I did, everyone, is I split screen TikTok. I split screen. The top is Interstellar. Matt Damon's being taken out of the hibernation pod, which looks like a sarcophagus. He had been in there for hundreds of years waiting to be rescued on a remote planet in the movie Interstellar. On the split screen on the bottom half, is an Egyptian sarcophagus that was just discovered, and they're removing the lid for the first time and taking the body out, just like they're taking Matt Damon's body out of the sarcophagus in the top split of the actual video clip. Okay? And so it's telling me, it's giving me an idea that these things are connected. It's giving me a hypothesis that in some way, it wasn't about going to this magical afterlife heaven. In some way, it was about technology. Like Ekulin says, mimicking the Anunnaki technology. Exactly what I believe. That's exactly what I believe. Could I be wrong? Yeah. But you know what? I believe that that's what it was, based on the research, the reading, the text, the tombs that we've just been looking at this evening, the extravagant tombs buried deep beneath that mountain there. I'd love to be able to take y'all to see this kind of stuff with me. There's a link in my bio, TikTok, YouTube, link in the live chat. Request that invitation to come hang out with me for 2 weeks in Egypt, and you're going to see the most incredible things you've ever seen in your life. You're going to experience things in a way you've never experienced them before, and you're going to be able to physically touch things. I'm going to take you to an area where there's destruction from some type of an energy weapon, and you're going to be able to see these chunks and pieces, and you can see with your mind's eye how they all fit back together to make this megalithic stone temple. And you're going to see the path that the beam or energy source came through to destroy it, all the way to the front gate of the structure to knock down a megalithic gate and char the stones. I'm going to take you to the pyramid of Dozier, and you're going to pick up out of the ground in your own hand evidence of an ancient war, an energy beam that struck that pyramid and blew out a massive chunk and charred the stone. You'll have it in your own hands. You'll be touching evidence of an ancient war, an ancient weapon in your own hands. We're talking about seeing Egypt like you've never seen it before, experiencing Egypt like you've never experienced it before, not getting the mainstream trash where they tell you that they use chicken bones and copper chisels to build everything and mud ramps and elephants. No, my friends, it's much more different than that. Much, much more different than that. The story is much more grand, much more elaborate, and much, much more amazing. So, again, I dropped the link in the live chat for y'all. TikTok, the link's in my bio. I'd love to see y'all there. Thank y'all for spending some time with me tonight to go over my hypothesis on what these sarcophagus are, what the mummification process is all about. What is the Valley of the Kings for? I believe it's a preservation location to preserve the DNA of the elites and oligarchs, because I believe that they were promised, that they were told that they would be brought back to life and re-establish their kingdom and rule right here on this planet, not somewhere else in the magical realm, right here on Earth. All right. Thank y'all for hanging out tonight. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to catch y'all later. All right. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, forgot I was on Instagram too. Hey, IG, thanks for hanging out. IG, I appreciate y'all. The link is in my bio also on IG. All right. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.